Meghan Sussex once again redefined quiet luxury, grace, and composure, not through excess, but through the artistry of her choices. Every piece she wore spoke a language of confidence and calm power. On that evening, as the world looked toward her with its usual fascination, she emerged not as someone trying to impress, but as someone whose mere presence turned ordinary air into atmosphere, charged, serene, and unforgettable. She wore Saint Laurent, a name that, like her own, has become synonymous with timeless sophistication. The Saint Laurent Anais pointed-toe logo bow slingback flats, valued at €875, were not simply shoes. They were an extension of her posture, an echo of her restraint and refinement. The pointed toes carried a hint of assertiveness, the kind that never shouts but is always heard. The delicate bow, adorned with the Saint Laurent insignia, added that subtle whisper of Parisian ease that Meghan translates so naturally into her own modern California grace. As she moved, the slingback strap seemed to trace the rhythm of her calm, elegant yet unhurried, poised but never performative. Then came the double-breasted tailored blazer from Saint Laurent, worth $2,990, a masterpiece of structure and silhouette. On Meghan, it was more than tailoring, it was storytelling. The fabric held its form like quiet strength embodied in thread. Each button gleamed like a small declaration of authority, balanced by the fluid grace of the woman wearing it. The blazer didn't wear her, she commanded it. That is the essence of Meghan's style. The garment always serves her energy, never the other way around. And that night, her accessories told the rest of the story. The gossamer mini-sphere earrings, first seen on Friday, glimmered softly near her face, adding just enough light to draw the eye toward her expression, one of calm self-assurance. The spheres caught the surrounding light as if they knew they were close to something luminous. There was nothing overdone, nothing loud, just refinement sculpted into simplicity. Meghan has mastered the art of minimalism that feels abundant, the rare balance of understatement and presence. Over her eyes rested the Heidi Merrick Santa Barbara sunglasses in black, priced at $225, an ode to the coast she now calls home. They weren't just sunglasses, they were a mood, a shield of serenity that kept the world at bay while she observed it with quiet intelligence. The frames carried the ease of the California sunlight and the sharp lines of metropolitan confidence. Behind them, Meghan's expression seemed to hold the knowing calm of a woman who has seen chaos and chosen peace instead. Her ensemble that evening was not just a fashion statement. It was a reflection of an inner world. Every line, texture, and tone echoed her balance between past and present, structure and freedom, Europe and California. She stood at that beautiful intersection where heritage meets independence, where Saint Laurent's Parisian craft meets Meghan's modern soul. People often mistake luxury for extravagance, but in Meghan's hands, luxury becomes meaning. The double-breasted Saint Laurent blazer became a symbol of authority reclaimed, of a woman who stepped away from a system built to define her and built her own world instead. The flats, gentle yet commanding, symbolized comfort without surrendering grace. The earrings were continuity, a reminder that her beauty is never about novelty, but consistency. And the sunglasses, perfectly chosen, were her boundary, a frame between her world and ours, reminding everyone that even though she moves among the public, she still belongs entirely to herself. Meghan's approach to fashion has always transcended the surface. When she wears Saint Laurent, it isn't just about the brand, it's about resonance, the harmony between intention and aesthetic. Saint Laurent, a house born of rebellion and refinement, finds a fitting muse in Meghan Sussex, who embodies both. There's a quiet defiance in her elegance, not the kind that seeks to provoke, but the kind that asserts, "I am here, whole and free." The colour palette that evening was deliberate. The black of her sunglasses and blazer, the muted tones of her flats, and the gleam of her earrings formed a monochromatic symphony that spoke of control, calm, and quiet command. Black has always been misunderstood. To Meghan, it is not a colour of mourning or concealment, but of mastery. It absorbs, it defines, it reigns. And on her, it radiated. Every motion she made that evening, a turn of the head, a step toward the door, the gentle lift of her hand to adjust her glasses, became poetry in motion. The Saint Laurent blazer shaped her silhouette with architectural perfection, while the slingback flats whispered confidence across polished floors. She wasn't dressed to be photographed. She was dressed to exist beautifully. That's the difference between fashion and presence. And Meghan Sussex embodies presence. The Guzema mini sphere earrings, crafted in understated brilliance, framed her face as though they were made for her alone. There's something almost ceremonial in the way she revisits her accessories, re-wearing, redefining, reinterpreting. It speaks to a woman who values continuity, who treats her wardrobe not as a series of performances, but as a personal language. When Meghan wears something again, it becomes more iconic, more alive, proof that elegance is not about accumulation, but evolution. There was an air of calm triumph around her that evening, the kind that comes from being at peace with oneself. The Saint Laurent ensemble did not demand attention, it earned it. It was a visual articulation of what power looks like when it no longer needs to prove itself. Meghan's choice of Saint Laurent, a house once revered for liberating women from stiff conventions, aligned seamlessly with her story. A woman who walked away from confinement and chose light, freedom, and truth. Everything about her presence that night whispered of intention, not the curated intention of someone trying to impress, but the grounded purpose of someone who knows her worth. Even the textures, the way the blazer held its structure, the way the shoes gleamed under soft light, spoke of a balance between precision and comfort. Her entire look told a story of alignment between body and spirit, elegance and ease, heritage and horizon. And as she walked, the world seemed to pause, not because she demanded it, but because her energy commanded stillness. That's Meghan's unique gift. She transforms space without effort. Her fashion doesn't just adorn her, it mirrors her essence. Saint Laurent's philosophy of timeless rebellion found its echo in her. The quiet strength of a woman who has rewritten her own narrative with dignity and beauty. Every time Meghan steps into the world, she doesn't just wear clothes, she wears clarity. The Saint Laurent blazer and flats, the Guzema earrings, and the Heidi Merrick sunglasses weren't just an outfit. They were her armor of grace. A statement of who she is, self-defined, self-led, and serenely unstoppable.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow, that was a great submission. And to all our peculiar and amazing Sussex family, thank you all for working with us in this juncture, for supporting Ari and Megan. And do not forget to subscribe, like, and put a comment. Bye bye. See you in our next episode.